到美国干嘛？投资移民还是生二胎？
啊！我把保全压他身上。
My heart, my heart！
我要不把他带回北京，
嗨，
我这人头就真落。
哟，嗨！弄了这么一帮小崽子来拿我当猴耍是吧？
哎，你这个人能不能有点责任心，有点爱心？
我压根儿从来就不想当爸爸。
没想到你真够爷们儿。
你必须多做点家务，像一个真正的爸爸一样。And all you guys owe him an apology。
你想学唱歌吗？我可以教你，让你唱得更好。
走啦。
It's time to go wee wee。
Is Mr. Wang home？
还从宽抗拒从严，
那是不可能的。
It's really tasty。
观众朋友们，大家好，欢迎收看这一期的对话好莱坞，我是主持人蓝天。那今天呢，我非常的有幸的邀请到了著名的制片人 Michael Paizer 来到了我们的节目当中。那么他最近有担任由夏宇主演的《洛杉矶捣蛋计划》的制片人，同时呢，他也是 USC School of Cinematic Arts 的教授，传授他多年来一直当制片人和电影人的经验以及知识。那今天呢，就让我们一起重返校园，好好的听他讲一堂课吧。So we know that you produce for both major studio movies as well as cutting-edge independent films. What do you think is the difference between the two?
Primarily, it's all storytelling. So the difference really is about budget, marketing support, and profits or risk.
Okay.
And risk management is, in a creative enterprise, how do you create a great story for the money that you have? So it's really no different. You may have to learn how to play all of the notes on a giant piano or orchestra. You may need to know how to orchestrate all of the 88 instruments. Or you may need to learn how to play it on a guitar. It's still, you got to sell the performance great. Exactly. And so it's putting together. Producing is about it's a little bit like opening a restaurant. And you may have a menu, you may have a chef, but you need all the elements so that when the people come in to eat,
they get a great experience.
It's a great experience. They don't notice anything else. They just go, wow, I'm coming back there.
Right. But I mean, do you run into more obstacles when you're producing for independent films as for, right?
You have less hierarchy of people who think they can tell you what the story is about or what it should be. But that is almost disappearing. Even independent movies, lower budgeted movies, you have to beg for the money so hard that everybody thinks, I have an opinion.
Yeah.
I've always believed that what you want is to find a great, smart, and visionary storyteller,
Right.
empower them,
Right.
surround them with the people who can both listen to them,
Right.
and tell them when they're, what do you think if it might be, how about if we did this?
Right.
It's the same on any level, although on a big movie, I might be using more high-level magic, but the magic only needs to happen once between the filmmaker's brain. And my job is to draw that out and share that vision with, whether it's 2 people or I've made movies with 2,000 people helping, to remember that actually who you're making the movie for, in some cases, is the heart and soul of that filmmaker, but it really should be for the audience that's going to watch it. And that's what we forget often. Big studio movies are made to market. They're less made for the audience being on a magic carpet ride taken away, like that restaurant experience. I didn't notice what was happening. It was just we had a fabulous time. So it's producers, which is what I do and what I teach people to do, it has changed. Because it used to be that there was a process that started with a story, a script, money people, actors, planning, pre-production, production, post-production, marketing, distribution. Now you start at distribution. It comes around in full circle. Exactly. But what that does for the creative, a cameraman, an editor, a set decorator, an actor, is it involves them from the get-go. Right. For instance, a movie in China, it's more important that you have people who can go out and talk on the television, on the media, than the movie itself. Yeah. You can make a great movie, worthless, if you can't actually gain access to the platforms of reaching and engaging with scalable audiences.
I feel like people morely focus on the marketing aspect of the movie now more than like, you know, the actual content of the movie.
They have to know it's good.
Yeah.
Because if you smell a rat, if it's not good, by 10 minutes into that movie, I've picked up my smartphone and I've spread the word. No coming back from that. And whatever you spent, whatever enterprise, whatever it is, of course, the big studios, the big ventures, they try to push.
Of course, they can hire social media teams, you know.
But I can tell you that every teenager, every mom, every worker in an office, they want something that will transport them, that will take them away, and they can smell that.
Right.
And they can sense it, and it's like we don't see commercials on television. We used to have commercial television that sold products. Yeah. People, whether they're there or not, turn them off. Yeah. Now people can sense that they're being sold. Not so much in China. China's still a theatrical model. That will change very rapidly. And the world of storytelling is now a transmedia world, which means I may have a big movie, but I have to make the virtual reality component of it, the multiplayer game thing, the theme park part of it. And so my crafting, working in digital arts, that's why producing has become a little more complex than just rounding up the good crews and the good actors. You do need to get the people with the money to take the risk. You need name actors, which is a fallacy, which means it's not, it actually doesn't. It used to relate to, yes, there's a curve if you have Tom Cruise.
Name actors, yeah. Now there isn't?
No.
That's not possible. I was looking at the list.
Look at the money. Look at the money. The highest rate of return is in big blockbuster movies.
Yeah, yeah.
There are no stars in Star Wars. That's the smart idea. There are great actors, but the idea is the movie is the star. The IP is the star. The myth story about the yearning of the human condition to do this, I lost my father, I need to rescue the integrity of my values, I need to find community, I don't trust, who should I trust, who should I love? Those are the issues. The problem is the people with their hands on the money think that if they have all the stars and all those things lined up, they can put together a package or a recipe that will be delicious.
Yeah, that's not.
Doesn't really work that way.
Sometimes two good combinations, two good delicious food or dishes. combined together,
or too rich, too many fancy rich things that aren't giving you. There was a time in the 15th century where music changed and went and added a bass line that played the rhythm.
Right.
Changed the world of music for the rest of time. That is happening because of digital arts. Not only the fact that big movies are happening, but the fact that you or I could make a really compelling movie that tens of millions of people would want to see. With our cell phone.
Let's talk about Papa, 洛杉矶捣蛋计划. So, was that your first or?
I had actually worked on other projects before Papa in China. Years ago, Zhang Ji asked me to come to teach what I knew about producing from a storytelling script development. And we did meetings with young writers to infuse in them the sense of how to create dynamic story that propelled itself. Because the tradition of Chinese movies was a little bit sit back, let it be presented.
Right.
And I teach at the University of Southern California. I teach both the top graduate students in the world and the top undergraduates. And because it's a very good film school and happens to be here in Hollywood, everybody in the world wants to go to that school in particular. And so we're very selective, but we do our best. But I get a lot of great young filmmakers, some from Asia, many from China. And in working with them, since I had experience in China with talking to all of the big companies and all of the big government entities that support the culture and growing that culture, I could work with their vision to try to do something. Zhao Zhang, who is the woman who directed that film, was one of my graduate students in her first year. And I met her, and she both helped me try to do some projects in China when I would be there. She would always be nice and friendly and help me out. And so I returned the favor by when she got a movie together, which was Chinese market movie, Chinese language movie, but it shot entirely in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So we put together a bilingual crew so that they could understand the actors, and there were some English-speaking characters in the story.
There were some, yeah.
And so we had to bring them into the story as well. Also, China's used to working in a certain kind of way, and we worked with a new generation of both Chinese, recent people in their late 20s, early 30s who had graduated from the graduate school, who were bilingual. And so the sound people and the editor and were all the young Chinese stars coming out of there that she put together with some regular good old American types that they had befriended and who could work in a film in a different language and still know what was going on.
So how was the interaction like between, the bilingual people and the young generations and the good old American production?
Well, I mean, it was hardest for the sort of older crews who tended to be the transportation people, the Teamsters here, the people who drive the trucks. They're an entrenched group of, they would be similar to, let's say, the work gangs in a Chinese studio situation where I've worked there forever, this is what I do, this is my job, I don't care what the movie is. But they really got into it because they really got excited. Like, all of a sudden, there's 500,000 Chinese out in the East Valley, and all of a sudden they're like, wow, let's go. What is that restaurant any good? It's like, and all of a sudden they're going, oh, I know my way around, the Chinese LA. We also made it primarily for China, and it was successful, in that world. But it was an interesting project because it had kids in it, and it's a comedy. Yeah. And I couldn't tell you what's going to work comedically. I wouldn't presume as a producer. So I left that to...
The story part, you left
The
that
story
alone.
part, I said, Mike, the movie producer, and me as a storyteller can tell you what Aristotle would have told you about drama, that there must be conflict and there must be, but do I know what little thing you might say? Like, there's a gag where his hair is pulled up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
and
I remember
it's
that.
very Chinese idiomatic behavior.
Right.
Meant nothing to the crew. And we went, weird, odd. And they went, no, don't worry, it's going to get a big laugh. And it gets big. Luckily, I sat in a theater in, Chinese theater out in the valley, and everybody laughed. And I went, okay.
All right, that worked.
I won't say much. But it was, what was surprising to me was how difficult it was to, and I've experienced this a lot in the Chinese movie business, is to get a real commitment where people who say, I'm in, I'm doing it, actually show up and deliver the goods. And I had to study my patience to learn how to deal with that, because in my world, if you cross, I'm the nicest guy you'll ever meet, but if you are disreputable to me, you'll never work again anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Why? Because I have a reputation.
Right.
And I expect that I will look after everyone else before I will look after myself.
Yeah.
If they're not functioning on that way, which is not a very Chinese way, good way to do it, it's very difficult. So I've had to learn how to not be trustful, but how to engage in enterprise and develop real trust. So that's the basis of it. I'm also believe in story quality brings value and wealth. I don't believe wealth is a goal.
So after producing all this work, right, and you decided to become a USC professor, how was that like, after leaving all that excitement, all that glamorousness, right, and becoming a professor? What made you do the change?
Because I went down to give a lecture because my daughter was in the theater school. And a friend who was there said, would you come and talk to my class? And then the class said,
we loved him.
Wow.
Yeah.
He actually told it like it is, and dealt with us not as less, but as more, as possibilities, like kind of like the acorn that's going to grow into a big tree. Yeah. And that's just my approach to life. And what I love is helping people become filmmakers who can tell great stories and tell them well. But I also like having colleagues who are breaking the ground, like the Sandy, where VR, AR, gaming, multiplayer game, immersive spaces, whatever that is, theater and immersive theater and gaming and space. My goal in life is to have a poetic society, one where my song and your song, like the birds, share the garden. I do believe it's important that the culture move there. I'm not terrifically interested in box office, although I'm about to make a bunch of new projects in China, which I'm not going to tell you about yet. You're going to have to come back and talk to me.
I was just about to ask you.
But they're really fun. Some very contained but very fun, and that are totally Chinese movies that I have filmmakers in mind who want to make them, and actors who want to do them. And then I have, no one has succeeded yet, and this is my challenge, in the world of a co-production where a beautiful Chinese actress and actors can speak in their own language, can carry on their own drama, romance, action, thriller, compelling, most greatest story ever told, and have a Western character speaking English or French or whatever in the same movie.
That is a true co-production.
And that notion of a movie that can make $200 million in China and $400 million in the rest of the world, those are the stories that I've focused on, and I think I've got a handle on how to make. So now I'm talking to various different people in China about how to go about that, which is fun. And to me, let's use Avatar as an example. Why does Avatar work so well?
It's a big IP.
No, because the IP is the story. The story is you must be an avatar to go to Avatar. You have to get in the box. You have to be, go in and take the form. Everybody who goes and sees Avatar has to get in the box with the characters and go there. So in that process, it's more like a ride
It's
as
more like
a
roller
story,
coaster ride.
as a story, because you're actually changing your reference to the same kind of wonderful riddle that the characters have. So in watching it, your engagement, how you're taking in stories, how you're hearing some of the same themes that are there is a totally transformed. And that's the power of media. And that power exists with a bunch of kids with iPhones who have all the tools, all the editorial and digital tools to craft. And what I'm excited about is I think digital media language will become the second language in the world. Otherwise, you'll have Mandarin or Cantonese or whatever, but Mandarin in China. But instead of having 100 million people in the 80s and 90s study English, I think people should be studying digital media language, which will be the transporter of them across there culturally and in business and in identity for them. What is most amazing to me is the amount of culture which is about, I would rather live through an idol, through cosplay, through identifying with a character rather than be engaged with my character. I would like to see stories that are epic, that are profound, that are engaging, but actually are about real people dealing with real choices and make them heroes. So that's what I'm working on.
All right, well, I definitely have to come back and then, share that success stories with you.
We'll try, and it's going to be fun, and I think what's exciting is the younger generations are facile and conversant in it already. The difficulty will be us more established, powerful, older people who need to realize we don't know shit relative to that practice. And so we need to embrace and find these new talents.
You will.
Well, we'll see.
will.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much,
It
Michael.
was great
Thank
to.
you for sharing your adventurous life stories with us and with all of us.
And thanks
here.
for coming to my little home station where I'm. The advantage for me, we're talking from my office, which is in my garden, and one of the things, because I'm making a movie in Spain about the first samurai who came from Japan in 1610 to the court of Philip III in Spain, and young hunky guy rescues the most beautiful woman in Europe. You know, I'm doing a big epic movie, but I have to talk to Spain, and I have to talk to Beijing and Shenzhen and Guangzhou and Hong Kong, and it allows me to come out while I'm not sleeping and just slip into anybody's day where they are in their time. So I feel like I'm here and the world is moving around.
Yeah. And it's really awesome how you can assemble a team like that. You know what I mean? You have all these like crazy resources, and that comes with, you know, experience and years of practice.
And with seeing what happens
Yeah.
when people understand what is important. Yes, getting paid, going home, watching the football game or the basketball game is important. It's very important to me. I can go watch the basketball game while I'm waiting to somebody to wake up in Shanghai.
Yeah.
But what's important is that you can. We are building a connection that will be good. Right now, we're very well connected. Everybody has a device in their pocket that can answer any question. They can get the answers. I'm more interested in the questions. We'll leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that. That's really good enough. 好的，非常感谢 Michael 今天跟我们分享了他这么多经历啊，然后今天确实是也学到了非常多的东西。那么以上呢就是今天对话好莱坞的全部内容了，感谢大家的收看，我们下一周同一时间再见了，拜拜。